Hello, good morning everyone from India, and I hope that you all are doing perfectly fine, happy and in good health. I'm sure probably in some part of the world it's night, but for me at least, I believe firmly sun is there and it's up and shining everywhere. So it's good morning from everywhere to everywhere. Okay, so we have been talking a lot about riding tiger, and probably you have seen a lot of different personalities into this podcast. And people are asking, what is this riding tiger is all about? Is it the true tiger that we are riding? Well, yes. If you have started your business, whether you are a business person or an entrepreneur or probably a trader, or probably you started your venture just like a startup, maybe you have only one or two employees, you are riding the tiger. So tiger is your business. And when you start, it's a journey. It's a never-ending journey. You need to feed your tiger in such a way so that it's not hungry. It's not hungry enough to eat you back. You can't stop because you know for a fact, if you stop and the tiger is actually see you, you're riding on your top, of course, it's going to kill you. It doesn't like someone to rule someone. Now, when you have such kind of personality who is taking risk, and it's a thrilling experience when you're riding a tiger, what are the kind of thought process that comes into human mind? What are the kind of people are they? What are the kind of people who are actually started their own venture and then yet they are giving back to the community and they are asking others, okay, fine, let's join the club and let's ride the tiger together. For this, I have an amazing, super cool gentleman from Australia. Welcome to our show.
Thank you ever so much, Arijit. And I do appreciate the wonderful time and also the opportunity to be able to be on top of your podcast. I look forward to being able to work along with you and also look at what are the ventures that we can look into in the near future.
Of course. So Melvyn, you have been into Australia for quite a long time, and you hold a lot of great, super cool position. Not only that, you are helping a lot of entrepreneurs who are actually into the ecosystem, and it shows to your works. Why don't you kindly share your life journey? Why don't you share your life story to our audience? How did you start it, and what is the background story?
Well, thank you very much once again, Arijit, for this. I do appreciate. You know very well that I'm also an Indian-born Australian citizen today. I come from Goa. I did all my studies in the southeast, which in Darjeeling. Graduated from Darjeeling, and from there onwards was always keen to be one of those people who would be a person who could work into a venture and look at what are the opportunities of helping and correlating myself with the community at large. From graduation, I was an Army personnel. I was in the BSF, in the borders, and a different world altogether. And then I moved out from there and I went into the sales market, which is one of my biggest fortes. Been in the sales now for almost about 40-45 years. Started with a company that you might know also in Calcutta, which was Modi Xerox. Yeah. I have been a person who has always been wanting to be recognized in an industry. It's not because of the fame, but it's more about being able to assist and support people in the journey itself, and always wanting to be ahead of people in terms of everything I did. And it's been a pleasure and wonderful journey for me, because it's been a struggle also at the same time. Yeah, in this journey, but it's been a learning lesson for me. And I've learned a lot moving forward from there. While I was in Modi Xerox, I was the highest seller nationally. Ventured out into meeting some people from Netherlands. I ventured out into the Netherlands. I worked for the Dutch government in disaster management, where I headed the entire country as Asia Pacific in charge, looking after the whole of Asia Pacific. Worked in that organization for 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah, traveled a lot, learned a lot, because you meet a lot of government organizations, you meet a lot of NGOs, you meet a lot of disaster management associates who were, because we would give training, advice, and consultancies in all kinds of disasters, right from high-rise buildings, terrorism, earthquakes, and that was my forte. Where I was lucky enough to actually meet a lot of ministers, a lot of high-end executives, and that's a learning curve for me, Arijit, because I mean, not many people get that opportunity to meet high-end entrepreneurs, business people, government associates. And it did give me a lot of opportunity, where I worked for 10 years with the Dutch government, traveling for almost 29 days a month, every month. Yeah. And my wife had to put up with that, of course, because it's the job you have. Yeah. But anyway, it was good. And eventually we thought of migrating, because my kids were also there. And I thought, okay, let's get out somewhere. Migrated to Australia. It's been now 20 long years in Australia. Doing well. Kids are loving it. Of course, got an opportunity to also, it's a country where there is a diversified opportunity. And there's a lot of opportunities for entrepreneurs who want to come and look at doing things, because it's not like India where it's too competitive. You still have a lot of wider opportunities in Australia. And that's what I figured out, why not do this? Even though I had the opportunity of working in the Dutch government in disaster management, Australia was different, because they said, no, you need to learn, you need to study another course again. I said, forget it. I've got to look after my family. Yeah, that's priority. So I joined the National Bank, the NAB, as a telemarketer to start myself. And as I said, I mean, I'm one of those persons who like to be recognized, and I like to take challenges. And then I was again in Australia, in the NAB, I was the highest seller, cross-selling products. It's so fortunate enough that I got promoted as a personal banker, did that for 2 years. And then I said, I've had enough, because that was a back-end office. I said, I need to get in meeting with my clients, because that's more important for me, because I love to meet clients and face-to-face discuss with them. The good opportunity, Arijit, that what I had over here was that I had the opportunity of learning the banking system and understanding finance.
Right.
So I said, the good thing is, let me get into an industry where I could assist the community at large, especially the Indian community that were migrating from India to Australia, and had no intentions of where they could go. So I joined into the property industry.
Wow.
Yeah. So I went into the property industry, and I've been now in the property industry for 16 plus years, working with various different builders, being able to assist clients, progress with them, understand what their needs and requirements are in turning, because every Indian that comes to Australia, there are three things they always look for. One is first get a job. Of course, their PR, get a job. And the next is look for a house. And that's where I had the opportunity of being able to discuss with them, look at what are their needs and requirements, and speak to them. And because, Arijit, I had the opportunity of having high-end contacts with Singapore, Malaysia, China, and all the global exposure, that gave me an opportunity to discuss with a lot of entrepreneurs globally in terms of investing in Australia.
Yep.
And finding out what are the best opportunities for them, because Australia is still a very big hub for migration. And I used to travel every month, Singapore, Malaysia, Hong Kong, dealing with high-end entrepreneurs, business entrepreneurs, investors, and bringing them across to Australia. It's been now 10, 16 years where I've been in this industry, finding it fascinating, but I've always wanted to look at opportunities and meeting people such as you. I've met some very good other people in India, where today I have been appointed as the president of the Australian Chamber for the Asian African Chamber of Commerce and Industry, as the president of Australian chapter, where I can now help and look at opportunities that we can collaborate and bridge the gap between Australia and India in terms of trade, finance, cooperations. So that has brought me to this area at this moment, Arijit, and I'm happy and progressing forward.
Super, super, beautiful
Yeah.
story. You know what I have gathered, because you have a very strong background in defense, probably that gave you discipline. And what I firmly believe, whether it's entrepreneurship or whether it's a job or probably if you're running your own as a maybe as a freelancer, maybe as a self-made consultant, it is important to have discipline in life rather than only skill set. So if you
Of course.
combine the skill set and discipline, success is bound to happen. And I'm really happy that what you have done, you actually gathered all your past experience and you combine that with the existing one. That's the way to go. Super, amazing story. A person who started life from India, from Goa, shifted to probably Calcutta, and then in Calcutta he worked, and then after that migrated to a complete different country altogether, worked with high level people, with ministers and all. And I personally know how difficult it is when you're working with bureaucrats, when you're working with high net worth individuals. I mean, it's not that easy. It's easy to say, but because I'm dealing day in and day out, I understand you completely. And then after that, taking a decision, moving from your own motherland to a complete different land altogether, start the life from the beginning, from that level, the highest seller, to again starting as a tele caller into NAB, and then after that, moving towards up towards the ladder, and then again starting a new complete different venture. Superb and beautiful story altogether. And the kind of communication you're doing nowadays, I think this is amazing. So a question to you: when you are migrating from India to Australia, what were the initial challenges that you have faced?
Plenty. I mean, it's been a big challenge. I mean, I thank my brother-in-law who helped me a lot, because I mean, we were rejected 3 times. We were rejected 3 times, but he kept on. And I also told my family, I said, let's just keep on. There's nothing to worry. I know I had a very good job in India, but I mean, I was just looking at the safety and looking at the benefits for my family in the near future, because I mean, if I'm going to be working like this, they need to be also having an area where they can have their family to be with, because they were all in Australia. But we kept on trying, and we happened to have that. I eventually, after 3 years, after the lawyer struggles, fights, was in a position to get us through to Australia, which was very good. So we migrated in 2003.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's been a journey, of course, but yes, it was a struggle, because you know the bureaucracy, you know the way the system works in India, and it was challenging, nevertheless rewarding.
Of course. So what are the small tips that you want to give to people who are probably want to move from one country to another country? It can be India to Australia, it can be Italy to Australia. As you know that I hold a director's position into 2 different companies in 2 Australian entity. In fact, I started a investment banking company in Australia as well. So being a person who holds a passport, which is Indian passport, starting a company in Australia is not that easy. I'm not going to that part, but I need probably for the audience, your suggestion. How exactly you suggest people to think and strategize if they want to move from one country to another country, and what are the basic things that they need to take care of? My second part of the question would be, how may you help to get them maybe a property to stay, maybe initially, I don't know, probably settle down, and then after that, getting a property so that they can call the other family members, they can come and settle down. So 2 questions for you.
Arijit, what I would suggest is, I mean, opportunities are there in Australia, as I said, but it doesn't happen immediately. So one must always understand the way the system works. One must understand that it's a different country altogether. First thing is, when you do arrive in Australia, you shouldn't have the opportunity of trying to find out if there is anyone that you get in touch with, because you're in a new identity. It's a different world altogether again. And I'm wanting to be one of those persons who would be in a position, and I want to help any migrants that come to Australia will be in a position that I can take care of them from them landing into Australia and holding their hands, giving them a place to stay, and working along with them to see what opportunities we can provide them, starting from their education, starting from looking at an accommodation from them, and then moving forward with them. Of course, everything is monetary wise, but I mean, you cannot help everyone, but you can definitely hold their hands and educate them and show them the way. And it's a progression. It's nothing that happens instantly. So what I would like to do is get hold of any of the migration companies, which I've started to find out exactly the number of immigrants that are coming from different countries, and try and see if I can be a pivotal role in helping them, holding their hands from the airport, getting them to a place where they can stay at a nominal amount, assisting them in trying to see if they can get a job, because you are allowed while in education studying to get a 20-hour job, so that at least they have that monetary side that they can at least keep on with their systems and keep looking at what they want to do, and try and bring them across in different fields, what I feel could categorize them, because it's a progression, as I said, and I'll be wanting to see if I can help them in those aspects and take them from where they start to where they want to be.
Super, super. And I have another question. For an example, if somebody is willing to invest in Australia, in fact, I know a lot of investors who are probably looking forward the opportunity at the moment, because COVID gave us a lot of opportunity.
Of course.
A lot of things.
Yes.
So how can you help? How can you probably help them to get some kind of opportunity to enter into the country? Do you have a system? Do you have a mechanism?
We do have. I mean, I'm associated with migration lawyers. I'm associated with a lot of lawyers and law firms where we can help a lot of investors, which I've been doing for the last 10 years, helping investors to look at what are the best opportunities to invest in Australia, what are the resources that we can get, what are the best returns that they're looking for. There could be short-term investments and there could be long-term investments, which I work with a lot of the developers as well as opportunities to see where these investors can look at. And also a lot of the investors look at migration for their kids in the near future, which doesn't happen immediately. So I have the mechanism of here to educate those investors in terms of the short-term investment, what are the returns, long-term investments, where they can look forward in the near future, and also assist them in terms of seeing what benefits they can derive in terms of their family coming across. So there is a mechanism which we can work towards. And I know there are a lot of Indians who are looking at that. You have two types of Indians, which we understand. One is an investor who just wants to invest in a different country, but wants to go back to their grassroots country, which is India. And you have the other one who thinks, okay, I want to invest because I want to have something in another country where I can get my family across, so I can go for a visit and look after that, and in the near future have the kids to migrate. So the mechanism is there, and we just have to work with investors to understand their needs and requirements, which is most important first before just dishing out a lot of stuff to investors these days.
True, true. And for all of you, we are actually working together with a couple of real estate developers and of course, real estate projects. For an example, I'm blessed that I'm working with the European real estate developers for quite a long time now. And of course, in Australia, not exactly in Sydney, but a nearby location. So of course, would love to explore maybe the opportunity to bring those things together and then getting things done so that probably we can do something cool together. And it's been a pleasure, Melvyn, that you actually sharing your life journey and the way you actually moved and the kind of success that you have got. It's not easy, it's easy to say. To be very honest, people who are watching us, who will be watching us in all the social media, it is, trust me or not, it is not that easy. It's easy to say. When you
it's
see
a very difficult journey.
Yeah, when you see someone who got success or probably who is doing fine, he had got a lot of sleepless nights. It's not that easy.
Of course.
A lot of sleepless nights.
You've got to have determination also, and you've got to keep on. Whether you fall, you've got to struggle, you've got to get up again. Because I mean, as we say, Arijit, you've been through the same, and you know it's a journey. And there's a lot of hurdles in those journeys, but you've got to be positive, and you've got to take every step gradually. And that's where things happen. I mean, It's not an easy journey, but it's a journey that is achievable if you have a positive frame of mind.
Right, right. And very soon, probably you will see him in our World Leader Summit as one of the speaker. So World Leader Summit is coming in November 5th to 10th. That's our designated dates. And as you know, last year we had 126 speakers from 90 countries. For the audience, once again, World Leader Summit is our signature event into our business chamber. So our business chamber consists of approximate, at the moment, 53 chapters in the approximate 47 countries across the world. And these 53 ambassadors are working day and night to create an amazing ecosystem for people, for good business. We are bringing investors pool. We already have our own investor pool. We have an incubation pool of our own. We have multiple partners. We are blessed that our partners are also handshaking with us. We are working very closely with each other with 8 to 9 different vertical of ventures. We are supposed to start our own portal on arts and crafts, wherein a lot of artists already shown their interest that they want to sell their art through our portal. Number one, that's coming up. Second thing that's coming up is our sports committee. I'm blessed that we have Paolo, Hoppo, and Marco in the committee who are actually creating an entire ecosystem of sports. I will hold it because they're going to talk about the whole entire committee, what we are doing and what we have been doing. Wait for the same and wait for him to share more great, amazing insight in World Leader Summit, our signature event in November. Before that, I'm sure that we're going to work and handhold and do a couple of things together. So this is the time for the rapid fire. Are you ready?
Shoot it.
Superman or Batman?
Superman.
Water or milk?
I would go for water because everybody needs that in their daily life.
What is life for you in 3 sentences?
Life is happiness. Life is a positive way of living, and life is also being able to give back to the community.
Awesome. Sales versus marketing, which one will you choose?
Sales, of course. Yeah, I mean, it's not about selling a product, it's identifying yourself with the customer to let them know what are the benefits and opportunities and that they can derive from what we have. It's educating the client as to what is beneficial for them. That's more important in sales rather than trying to sell a product to them.
Super. And as you know that if you look at our Indian culture, probably we have Bharatiya culture rather than Indian. India is actually a given name from the Western world.
Yes.
If you look at our entire culture, we actually have only 3 cycles, which is cycle of life: creation, protection, and destruction. That's the reason in Hinduism, we have 3 different idols for that: Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwar. Brahma is the creator, Vishnu is the protector, and Shiva is the destructor of the negative energy. Now, talking about the same, if we look at this cycle, probably a lot of Western world don't understand it, and they try to compare that with yoga, meditation. It's way beyond that. Our spirituality is way beyond that. Now, right. If I ask you, when I'm talking to a person like you, a personality like you, who have seen the world, who have seen life very closely, of course, being a defense person, moving to a salesperson, and moving to, of course, as a leader, and then heading up entire business chamber, it's not that easy. So I will move my rapid fire into a complete different direction at the moment. So I'll be asking you a question: light versus spirituality, which one will you choose?
I would go to light because spirituality, of course, everybody has their own different opinions. But having light, it's better to enlighten them with what's possible and what can bring them that spiritualness through that light.
Awesome. You are in Melbourne, if I'm not wrong.
Correct.
Right. So sea life versus our surface life, which one would you prefer?
I've been very much into the surfer's life itself, so I'd rather be a surfer's life. Sea life is just a pitfall of it. But surfer's life, of course, is better because I mean, you're actually on ground.
Super. Education versus knowledge.
I still say you still need education because there are different angles of education, and knowledge is just a part of the skill that you bring in from that education you take. So education is one thing that needs to be done, and everybody needs to have that stronghold of understanding the different psychologies and cycles of education, because that's what you can bring into knowledge if you have the expertise.
Awesome. Amazing. Thank you so much for all these beautiful insights, and thank you so much for enlightening us. Looking forward to work with you and looking forward to do a couple of things together. Audience or people who will be listening to it, I'll highly encourage them to get in touch with this amazing gentleman. If you are looking for an opportunity to migrate from any country to Australia, he is the right kind of person, number one. Number two, if you are looking for any sort of investment into probably real estate, would love to work with you and would love to connect you with Melvyn. Please stay in touch and bless us with your blessings. Thank you so much for listening to us. Thank you so much for being with us today. Morning, night, afternoon, day, sun is there. So once again, good morning to everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Arijit. I do appreciate everything. Look forward to being associated with you in the long run.